really quick.
Here we go. Let's get you Peak State. Come on. Come on, people. Here we go. Ready? Come on, let's keep this. Let's go. Here we go. Get up. Get up. Okay. Yeah, hit it, Steve. Hit it, Josh. Hit it. Here we go. Minty. LP. Oh, man.
Okay. All right. All right. I had the pleasure of being at Tony Robbins. So Peak State, baby. Okay. Here's what I got. Dropping down. I'm excited to talk about this. I will say I've sold, 100 whatever of Cutco. I've never been the big set. I've never been like the big set guy. One of my friends, Jared Erickson, he's the big set guy. He was my friend. He started selling Cutco. Every demo, it seemed like he sold like a Homie, a Signature, an Ultimate set. And at first I was always so frustrated because I was like, man, it'd be so nice if I could be the guy dropping $1,000 orders, or the guy or the girl. Does anybody relate to this? I'm like, man, I wish that was me selling those really big sets, right? I want to show one thing just to help shape some perspective before I even start talking. I am so surprised at how winded I am from jumping for 20 seconds. Literally, what the heck? I was jumping on a trampoline out there a little bit ago. I'm going to blame that to get myself juiced up. But okay, so I want to show you this really quick. This is my only slide, and there should be a handout, I believe, in the chat room for you to grab. And I want you to follow along on that. But here's just a really quick reality check. When somebody says, hey, my average order is $900, and then someone else says my average order is $400, who's a better salesperson, right? Pretty obvious answer. The person on the left, right? They have a bigger average order. Of course, they're better. But I want to show you something with this. When someone has a really big average order, this is usually what it looks like. Homie, Siggy, Galley, maybe throw a starter set in there. And then it's a lot of just swing and misses, right? When someone has that's 3,800 CPL. Who'd be excited about that? I would, for sure. On the right here, though, this person, trimmer, like list, 2-piece, cheese knife, trimmer, paring knife, 3-piece like list, get a piece package, trimmer. That person sold 5,000 CPO in the same amount of demos. And they're sure their average order was less, but that person sold more Cutco. And so what's the goal, right? What's the goal is to make more sales, to make more money, to have a better experience, and to help more people get Cutco in their hands. And that's something that I've taken a lot of pride in. Is at one point in my career, I think I was around 85 to 90% closing. And my objective every time is just get this person Cutco. I am a raving Cutco fanatic, even though I barely ever cook. I use an air fryer and a skillet and a waffle maker every single day. I use a trimmer every day. But I love Cutco. This is a set from 1949, okay? Right there. This is an OG set. I traded a brand new homemaker for it at the South Dakota State Fair. So I never use that, but I show as many people as possible to make up for my investment in getting it. But here's what I'm going to talk about dropping down. So I want you to grab that. Everyone take 10 seconds and get that handout. Open it right now. I did this on the airplane. And I put a decent amount of time into it. I see her. Yes, my voice is shot from Tony, but I want you to pull that up and kind of follow along with me. One thing I want to start with is to drop down is really just to understand. I'm going to give you a resource at the end. It's a YouTube channel and it's not my own, but it's a YouTube channel that has taught me a lot about Dave, you're sharing your screen. Oh. There we go. It's a YouTube channel that's taught me a lot about emotional intelligence and just charisma and human charisma in interactions. And really what dropping down is exactly that. It is understanding, it's asking great questions. It's actually hearing what the customer is telling you. And then it's actually handling the objection, not just handling the objection as in saying what the script says to say or whatever, but it's actually hearing what they're saying, taking time to process, okay, maybe this set isn't the right fit for them. It sounds like they would use a chef knife, a trimmer, they would use a petite carver and a paring knife. And then it's taking that information and processing, well, the best thing for this person is an all knife set, right? Because it has the tools that they would use. So that's handling an objection, is giving a new solution. So the first part of all of this is ask great questions. Okay, I want you to write that down. Ask great questions. Ask great questions. When you ask great questions, you get great answers. And as simple as that sounds, that is so important, because sales is communication. Sales is serving. You can't serve somebody if you don't know what they need. You have to find out, what does this person cook? What does this person need? And when you know what somebody needs, you can get it for them. Your job is to be a kitchen consultant, and you are the expert. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but ask great questions. Here's the first one. These are some next level questions. Yeah, my voice is still shot from Tony. Tony Robbins, look him up at the end too. Anyway, okay, so ask great questions. So after the galley set, here's a question you can ask. Hey, Mrs. Jones, would you ever consider adding Cutco to your collection? This is a Brandon Brown question for those who know who Brandon Brown is. Mrs. Jones, would you ever consider adding Cutco to your collection? That is a yes or absolutely question. That, like, there's no way somebody says no. It's so open. Would you ever consider adding Cutco to your collection? There, no isn't an option with that kind of question. And what it does for the customer is it allows them to admit the fact that, you know what, I would consider it. I would consider getting Cutco. And it takes down the guard a little bit from just going homemaker, galley, starter, like list, recommendations, right? Would you ever consider getting Cutco? Yeah, I mean, I consider it. Okay, great. Now this next question is in your manual. It's in ours anyway. Block, would you get your Cutco in a block set, or would you get a piece package? Okay, this is kind of a next level question. But when you ask these two things, it shows you what the solution is. So if the customer tells you we'd get a block set for sure, what are you going to show them next after the galley set? The essentials and the studio, because those are the next two options that make sense. You're allowing the customer to feel heard by asking a really good question. And let's say that the customer's like, oh, we would never use a block set. Well, then you just saved yourself 10 minutes of explaining two of the starter sets that they wouldn't even want, right? Does that make sense?
What if they don't want the essential a block set, Alex?
Oh, hold up. I'll get there. I don't know who said that. Okay. Transition. So starter sets. There's a transition question for you to get to the starter sets. Now, here's a transition question to get to like list. Ready? So this is on page 12 for us, but it's going from the starter sets to building a like list or a wish list. Here's the question. Write this down. If you could wave a magic wand and own anything Cutco, what would you get? I used to ask a question. It was, if Cutco was falling from the sky, handles down, of course, what would you go grab, right? Thing is, there's action involved in that. And the customer has to actually think about, well, what would I get? I don't know. If you can wave a magic wand and you would have anything Cutco, what would you get? The customer might say, oh, I'd get a complete set. What does that tell you? They like Cutco. They actually like it. And if the world was perfect and they had unlimited wallet or counter space or something, there's an objection there somewhere. If they can wave a magic wand, they get the ultimate set. That tells you a lot. So there's another great question. Here's when you're building the like list. Okay. Here's a question. Let's say they say we'll get table knives. You can say, is 8 table knives enough? Or could you see yourself having guests over and maybe needing 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512? Oh, 8's enough. Okay. Okay, good. All right. Or they'll tell you this. I don't think we need 8. What? You think we need 8? What'd you just do? You just expanded their mindset completely of what they think they need in their kitchen. And here's the reality. Lindsay had a 24 order yesterday. Here's the reality. My house I live in right now, I live with 4 dudes. We don't cook that much. Every single day we unload the dishwasher, and there's like 8 table knives that I take out every single day because they're the easiest ones in the world to grab and go. People will use them as long as they have them. So expand when the customer is making a like list, make that like list really, really, really big. Because as Bert says, the bigger you start, the bigger you get to finish. Okay. And if they're a Cutco owner, here's the last great question for you. If someone's a Cutco owner, I want you to ask this at the very beginning because it'll help with the drop down. At the very beginning, I want you to say, hey, before we even start, Phil, I'm just curious, what makes Cutco different than the other knives you have? Phil, what makes Cutco different than your other knives? Right? Phil unmuted, he's gonna tell us right now. Okay, all right, so number one, ask great questions. And here's the, if I put that whole thing in a summary, the more curious that you are, the more questions you will ask, the more answers you will get. And with your answers, you will find a solution for them. And when you're certain on the solution, they will be too, and they'll buy it. Okay, the second step is listen and understand. And on the handout, understand is underlined. I want you to write down this. This is the action step for after. Write down active listening. Look it up on YouTube. And then subscribe to my channel. Active listening though, when we're done, look this up. It's a skill that I want everyone to learn because it's a life skill. It's not a Cutco skill. I didn't learn this to sell more Cutco, but it's a byproduct. Okay, active listening. So here's what you can say anytime that your customer tells you something. Ready? Everyone jot this down. It's called the 2-second rule. This is, I guess, you don't say this. You don't say, yeah, 2-second rule. When your customer says something, wait 2 seconds. Internalize that. So you're dropping down, you're going through the process, you ask for the order on the galley set, your customer says something. I want you in your head to count to 2. 1, 2. Every single time. Because what happens is you're already thinking of the words you're going to say before the customer's even finished. And then what can happen is either you cut them off, which allows them to feel not heard and feel sold to, which is not the goal, right? The goal is not to make someone feel like you're selling to them. That's not Cutco. That's not what we do. But what also can happen is if you give somebody 2 seconds, they start to spiral. I want you to try this on your demos this week. If you give someone space and you give them 2 seconds when they object on the galley set or a starter set, they're going to give you an objection. You sit in silence, they give you another objection. You sit in silence, they give you another one, and they start to just spin out. And what happens is they get to the true objection, and that's way easier for you to handle. Okay. A lot of times the first things they say are not the actual reasons they're not buying. They're just not comfortable yet. Okay. So active listening, it's waiting until somebody's done speaking. And then it's reassuring what you're hearing. So this is what I want you to write down. What I'm hearing is blank. Is that right? So your customer says, hey, I can't get the galley set today. I just don't think we can afford it. And you wait, you go, okay. So what I'm hearing is you can't afford the galley set today. Is that right? And then your customer does this. Yeah, and I mean, blah, 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 and this and that, and this and that. And guess what that is? That's the spiral that you want so that they actually tell you what the objection is. And then you can handle it. Okay? Does this make sense to everybody? I want you to practice this on your mom tonight or your friends. Do the active listening stuff. Practice it now so it makes sense when you're talking to a customer. Number one, ask great questions. Number 2, listen and understand what the customer is saying. Because as salespeople, oftentimes we just want to handle it. We want to fix it. We want to solve it. That's actually not the goal. The goal is to hear what somebody's telling you and then help them find a solution. Okay. Number 3, it's the third part of a perfect drop down. Always handle the objection with love and with care. Handle the objection does not mean start a war of words or I'm right and you're wrong or attack the customer's feelings or invalidate them for feeling like they can't afford it. That is not handling an objection, right? And that nobody likes to do that as salespeople, especially Cutco. Like we don't like to do that, but that can happen sometimes and the customer can feel that way. That's not the goal. So handle objections with love and care. What does that mean? It means appreciate their feelings. Appreciate where the customer is coming from and don't just handle the objection, honor the objection. right? If somebody feels like they can't afford Cutco, more power to them and really honor that. Okay. So if someone's like, hey, look, bless you, Josh. If somebody says, look, we can't afford the homemaker. You say, okay, that's great. It sounds like you can't afford the homemaker. Is that right? And they say, yeah, we just can't fit in the budget. And you say, okay, no worries. So let me just ask you this. Do you like Cutco? Yeah, we love it. We love it. Okay. Could you see yourself using all these pieces? They say, well, we wouldn't use a couple. I say, okay, what pieces wouldn't you use? They say, well, we wouldn't use that, that, and that. And you say, okay, perfect. I'm going to show you something that might fit the budget. How does that sound? Yeah, it sounds good. Right. And then you show them exactly what they told you that they would use, which is usually in a starter set. Honor the objection, handle it with love and care, and don't make it you versus them. Get yourself on their side of the computer screen and help walk them to the set that makes the most sense. The set or the piece package. Is it okay to sell piece packages like lists? Absolutely. It is absolutely okay. That's what I've made a career on, is selling like lists. I even call them like lists, not even wish lists or whatever. Because I just tell them, hey, what do you like here? Then you help get it to them. From Olean, the beautiful people in Olean. The last thing I'm gonna leave you with is be a solution finder. Okay, be a solution finder and a kitchen consultant. Sales is service. That's what sales is. And if you believe in your product, the product enough, you will believe that that person's life is better with Cutco. Okay. And when you believe in Cutco, a product that I have a set from 1949, when you believe in it enough, when you get your hands on it, you'll understand that their life is better with Cutco. Sales is service. And so here's what I'll leave you with. I call it the trimmer close. If you miss on a like list or a starter set, that's okay. I have what I call the trimmer script. I used to just say this and then I put it together on a little document so my team could use it. And it could raise your closing percentage 20 to 30%. This is what it sounds like. Ready? Hey, Mrs. Jones, look, I get it. Today just might not be the day you invest in a bunch of Cutco. I've had a lot of customers in the same position. Let me just tell you one thing that they've done. They've invested in one piece. Okay. And I'm not going to make you pick or guess what that piece is. It's the trimmer right here. And the reason that they choose the trimmer is because this is the utility knife. It's the knife that you'll use every single day for the rest of your life in the kitchen. That's my first promise to you. Okay. My second promise is you put down $39 today and then $39 next month. You're done with the payments forever. That's my next promise. My last promise, Mrs. Jones, I have never had a customer call me and say, Alex, look, I want to return that trimmer. But you know what I've had so many times, including this morning, no joke, is customers call me and ask to buy more. And if I don't sell them more Cutco, somebody else at some fair or some show does. That's my last promise. So what do you think, Mrs. Jones? Do you want to make the $39 investment today and have this trimmer in your kitchen for the rest of your life? Help me towards my goals and think of me every single time that you use it. What do you think? Yeah, let's get you started. So that's what I call the secret weapon. And I got props from the legend, Steven Zhang, in the chat. So Steven Zhang, man, I'm excited to hear you talk. But here's the link for that trimmer close right here. Save it and then use it when necessary. And again, get Cutco in your customers' hands, have fun, listen to the objections. And then here's the YouTube channel I was talking about. And then thank you for listening.